The torpedo is already in the water. It left the Iranian submarine at high speed, traveling through 800 meters of open ocean toward the largest warship in the United States Navy. Inside the carrier's Combat Information Center, the sonar operator sees it the moment it launches. His voice cuts through the room without hesitation. Torpedo in the water, bearing 220, closing fast. The room does not panic. It moves. Every system aboard the strike group activates simultaneously. Destroyers accelerate. Helicopters bank sharply toward the threat. Countermeasure systems arm themselves within seconds. The carrier's captain does not wait for confirmation. The order is immediate. All ahead flank. Hard starboard. 200,000 tons of steel begins turning, but the torpedo is already closing the distance. The USS Abraham Lincoln had been operating in the Persian Gulf for 11 days when the threat first appeared on sonar. The strike group consisted of the carrier itself, 2 guided missile destroyers, 1 cruiser, and 4 escort vessels. Beneath the surface, attack submarines moved silently in a protective perimeter. Above, F-18s rotated through continuous combat air patrols. The mission was deterrence. Presence, a message delivered in steel and flight decks. Iran had been watching every movement. For weeks, Iranian naval forces had tracked the strike group's pattern. Patrol boats shadowed the outer perimeter. Reconnaissance aircraft passed overhead at safe distances. The Revolutionary Guard Navy logged every course change, every refueling, every aircraft launch. They were not observing out of curiosity. They were building a targeting solution. 3 Kilo-class submarines had departed Bandar Abbas 14 days earlier. Their destination was not logged in any official record. They submerged quickly, moving south through the Strait of Hormuz at night, hugging the seabed to avoid detection. Each vessel carried a complement of heavy torpedoes. Each captain had received the same sealed orders. Wait, watch, and when the moment comes, strike the carrier. The moment came on a Tuesday morning. At 3:40 local time, one of the strike group's sonar buoys registers an anomaly, a faint acoustic signature, the kind that experienced operators recognize immediately. A submarine at slow speed, very close, holding position at depth. The sonar supervisor listens twice to be certain. He reaches for his headset. Contact. Submarine contact. Bearing 218. Range approximately 900 meters. Inside the combat center, the watch officer marks the position on the tactical display. A red icon appears on the screen. Then a second call comes in from a different buoy. Second contact. Bearing 195. Range 1,100 meters. 2 submarines, both within strike range of the carrier. The watch officer picks up the command line immediately. The carrier's captain arrives on the bridge within 90 seconds. He studies the tactical display without speaking. 2 red icons sit directly south of the strike group's formation. Their positions are precise. Their intent is clear. The captain turns to his executive officer. Battle stations. The announcement echoes through every deck of the carrier. 5,000 sailors move at once. The Iranian submarine captain had waited for this moment for 12 days. His vessel had crept into position over the course of 3 nights, moving only during periods of heavy surface traffic to mask the engine noise. His crew had eaten cold meals. They had spoken in whispers. They had been patient, disciplined, invisible. Now the carrier was exactly where the targeting data said it would be. He looked at the tactical display one final time. Course, speed, distance, everything aligned. He turned to his weapons officer and gave the order with complete calm. Fire. The torpedo launched with a sharp mechanical thud that rang through the entire hull. A 533mm heavyweight weapon, 7 meters long, carrying a 300-kilogram warhead. Its onboard guidance system activated immediately. The target lock was immediate. The weapon began its run. On the strike group's sonar screens, the launch signature appeared within 2 seconds. The acoustic burst of the torpedo tube. The sudden pressure wave, the unmistakable acoustic signature of a running weapon. The sonar operator's voice was already transmitting before the torpedo had traveled 50 meters. Torpedo in the water, active seeker, bearing 218, speed 45 knots, range 850 meters. The carrier had less than 70 seconds. The countermeasure sequence began automatically. Acoustic decoys fired from the carrier's hull, filling the surrounding water with false signatures. The vessel's noise-masking systems activated, attempting to reduce the acoustic profile of the ship's propulsion. But a 100,000-ton warship cannot hide from a weapon that is already locked. The carrier accelerates. The torpedo adjusts. On the tactical display, the 2 tracks converge. The gap shrinks at 45 knots. Simultaneously, the nearest destroyer, the USS Gravely, swings hard toward the torpedo's bearing. Its anti-torpedo system activates. A lightweight interceptor launches from the ship's deck and enters the water 400 meters ahead of the incoming weapon. The interceptor accelerates to 60 knots immediately. Its seeker head begins searching. Inside the combat center, the sonar screen shows 3 objects moving in the same corridor of ocean: the carrier, the torpedo, and the interceptor racing to close the gap. 700 meters, 600. The interceptor and the torpedo are converging head-to-head. 500 meters, 400. No one in the combat center speaks. 300 meters from the carrier's hull. 200. Then the ocean detonates. The underwater explosion sends a shockwave through 400 meters of open water. The force slams against the carrier's hull with a deep resonant boom that every sailor aboard feels through the deck plates. Above the surface, a column of white water erupts 30 meters into the air, collapsing back into foam seconds later. Inside the combat center, every sonar screen fills with white noise. The systems recover in 4 seconds. The torpedo track is gone. The interceptor destroyed it 180 meters from the carrier's hull. But the second submarine had also fired. The second launch signature appeared on sonar 3 seconds after the first explosion. A different bearing, a different approach angle. The Iranian commanders had planned this deliberately. 2 submarines, 2 torpedoes. Simultaneous threat vectors designed to overwhelm a single defensive response. The second weapon was already inside 600 meters when it appeared on the tactical display. The Gravely was still repositioning from its first intercept. The cruiser USS Bunker Hill moved immediately to fill the gap. Its own anti-torpedo system activated. A second interceptor entered the water. Range to impact was now 400 meters and closing. 350, 300. The interceptor seeker locked onto the incoming weapon. 250 meters. The second explosion was larger than the first. The shockwave reached the carrier's hull within 2 seconds. Systems flickered across 3 decks. Damage control teams braced against bulkheads. 2 sailors in the forward hangar bay were knocked from their feet. The sonar screens cleared. The second torpedo track had disappeared. 220 meters from the carrier. 2 torpedoes fired, 2 intercepted. The carrier had not been touched, but the battle was nowhere near finished, because the sonar display still showed 2 submarine contacts beneath the strike group. The Iranian captains had revealed their positions with the torpedo launches, pressure waves, acoustic signatures, the precise bearing and range of every launch. Sonar operators aboard 3 different ships had triangulated both submarines within seconds of the first shot. Their positions were now marked on the tactical display with absolute certainty. The carrier's commander studied the screen. The defensive phase was over. He turned to his strike coordinator. Engage both contacts. All available assets. The hunt began immediately. 2 SH-60 Seahawk helicopters that had been circling the outer perimeter banked hard and descended toward the ocean surface. Their dipping sonar systems were already in the water before the order had finished transmitting. Long cables dropped from the belly of both aircraft. Sonar transmitters plunged into the Persian Gulf. The pilots held position, rotors fighting the humid morning air. The first contact came back within 20 seconds. Submarine hull, clear signal, bearing 218, depth approximately 80 meters, range 700 meters. The helicopter crew moved without hesitation. A Mk-54 lightweight torpedo separated from the aircraft and hit the water at a shallow angle. It activated instantly. The weapon's onboard sonar swept the water column below in rapid pulses. Inside the Iranian submarine, the captain heard it immediately. A high-frequency pulse, then the propulsion whine. The sound every submarine commander trains for and dreads. Incoming torpedo. He ordered maximum depth and full rudder. The submarine tilted sharply downward. The crew braced against every available surface. But the Kila-class diesel-electric submarine, as quiet as it was, had a maximum speed of 17 knots submerged. The Mk-54 was doing 40. The torpedo closed the distance in 11 seconds. The explosion tore through the submarine's pressure hull at the engineering section. The detonation was catastrophic and immediate. On the surface, a massive column of water and compressed gas erupted from the ocean. The helicopter crew banked away from the shockwave. Their sonar operator watched the screen go blank. First contact destroyed. The second Iranian submarine had watched the first one die. Its captain made an immediate decision. He turned his vessel south at maximum speed, running parallel to the seabed. hoping the thermal layers and the noise of the explosion would give him a window of confusion. He ordered his sonar operator to deploy acoustic countermeasures behind them as they ran, a trail of false signatures designed to confuse any pursuing weapon. The USS Gravely had already anticipated the escape route. The destroyer had repositioned during the first engagement, placing itself directly south of the strike group's perimeter. Its sonar array had never lost the second contact. The Gravely's captain watched the submarine accelerate on his tactical display and gave the order without delay. Launch ASROC, target bearing 195. An anti-submarine rocket launched from the destroyer's vertical strike system and arced into the morning sky. It traveled 3 kilometers in 14 seconds before its rocket motor cut out and a torpedo separated from the airframe. The weapon entered the water cleanly, its seeker head activated on impact. The Iranian submarine's acoustic countermeasures were already in the water. The false targets scattered behind the vessel like a trail of electronic ghosts. The pursuing torpedoes swept through them, analyzing each signature in milliseconds. The guidance system compared the countermeasure signatures against the baseline acoustic profile it had locked onto at launch. The decoys did not match. The torpedo ignored every one of them and turned toward the real target. The submarine's captain heard the weapons seeker tone shift, the pitch change that meant final lock. He had no options left, no depth to run to, no speed to escape with. He looked at his crew one final time. The explosion ended the engagement in a single detonation. On the tactical display aboard the Gravely, the second submarine contact vanished. 2 submarines, both destroyed. Total time elapsed from first torpedo launch, 9 minutes and 40 seconds. But the sonar operators were already searching for the third. Intelligence had suggested 3 submarines had deployed. Only 2 had fired. The third contact had appeared briefly on the outer sonar network early in the engagement and then gone quiet. No launch, no movement. Either the third captain had lost his nerve or he was waiting. Experienced commanders know which possibility is more dangerous. The strike group expanded its sonar net immediately. Helicopters deployed additional buoys in a widening grid pattern around the formation. The carrier's own towed array sonar swept the water astern. Every operator on every ship focused their attention on the same question: where is the third one? For 6 minutes, the ocean said nothing. Then a single buoy, positioned 1,400 meters southwest of the carrier, registered a faint contact. Not a launch, not propulsion, something smaller. The sound of a ballast adjustment, a submarine holding depth, making a minor correction. The kind of sound that disappears inside ambient ocean noise unless someone is specifically listening for it. Someone was. The sonar supervisor marked the position immediately. Possible contact. Bearing 247. Depth estimated 120 meters. The helicopter already nearest to the position banked left without waiting for a second confirmation. Its crew had been listening to the same net. They were already descending. The dipping sonar went into the water at maximum cable length. The signal came back strong and clear. Submarine contact confirmed. Bearing 247. Range 600 meters. Stationary. The Iranian captain had chosen to wait. He had held his position through the entire engagement, perhaps hoping the strike group would assume the threat was over, perhaps hoping to take a shot at a distracted target. Whatever his calculation had been, it had cost him his anonymity. The helicopter crew prepared their weapon. A torpedo entered the water 500 meters ahead of the submarine's position. It swept the area with active sonar pulses on descent. The contact appeared in the weapon sensors within 3 seconds. There was no confusion, no countermeasures deployed, no evasive maneuver attempted in time. The ocean erupted for the 3rd time that morning. The final contact disappeared from every sonar screen in the strike group simultaneously. For 30 seconds after the last explosion, no one spoke. The Persian Gulf surface, churned into white foam by 3 separate detonations, began settling back into its normal rolling pattern. The morning sun was fully above the horizon now. The carrier's flight deck, which had been cleared and locked down at battle stations, caught the early light across 300 meters of gray steel. Inside the Combat Information Center, the sonar operators watched their screens. The tactical display showed nothing. No red icons, no torpedo tracks, no submarine contacts. Only the blue symbols of the strike group itself, holding formation, moving steadily northwest. The watch officer turned to the commander. No contacts. All clear. The commander did not respond immediately. He looked at the tactical display for a long moment. 3 submarines had entered these waters with a single objective: sink the carrier. A $2 million torpedo had been the opening move in an attack that had been planned over weeks, rehearsed in Iranian naval exercises, and executed with real discipline and real coordination. It had failed completely. The carrier had not slowed. It had not turned back. It had not sustained a single point of damage, but the response had been total and immediate. From the moment the first torpedo entered the water to the destruction of the final submarine, the entire engagement had lasted less than 14 minutes. Every layer of the strike group's defense had activated in sequence. Sonar operators detected the threat within seconds of launch. Countermeasures delayed the incoming weapons. Interceptors destroyed them before impact. And the moment the defensive phase ended, the offensive phase began without pause. 3 submarines, 3 contacts, all gone. The commander finally looked up from the screen. Maintain sonar sweep. Resume flight operations. The first F-18 was on the catapult within 4 minutes. The Abraham Lincoln never even changed course.